Hey everyone, this is EllyMae with Silhouette Secrets Plus, and look what has arrived. Now, I didn't get to bring it back from Hawaii with me, but I brought some other stuff back with me. But this just arrived on my doorstep. So I got home at almost midnight or actually a little after midnight on Sunday night after Silhouette Summit. It is now Thursday. My machine is here. I do want to state one thing before I open this. So I am not quite sure with the way this is packaged. It may have been a demo machine from Summit, which all that means is that it was repackaged. It may not have all the packaging, but it may surprise me when I open this up and see what happens. So links are in the description below. Make sure to like, subscribe, click that bell for notifications of future content. I already have several videos out there live from the Silhouette Summit with demos. This is a brand new machine. This just arrived on my doorstep. So it is going to be very difficult in the beginning to troubleshoot issues, and there is going to be a learning curve. Right off the bat, I'm going to tell you that. So first, before I open the box, you will need to update your Silhouette Studio software to be using a version of 4.5.735 or higher. Currently, as I record this video, I'm just going to throw the information and keep it accurate in the description. So make sure you go check that out to know exactly what version is released, because as I open this box, the software version is a beta version and there's a few things in it. It will still work, but you will have to connect it by USB if you are using 4.5.735. If you're watching this later down the road when you get your machine, then you won't have to worry about it at all. It'll be a current version. We'll have had time to test it and everything will be peachy keen. Maybe. It's a new machine. It's going to take time for everyone, including myself, to learn. Now, I do have a lot of experience with the previous Curio one. That is going to help, but it's not going to mean I'm an expert at it right away. There will be no experts out there for a while. My experience with the Curio one will help me, and I'll be able to put out content and classes faster. So make sure you watch on the YouTube, watch on my Silhouette-Secrets blog, and also on my Teachable site for new classes. So let's open this baby up and see what is inside. As you can see, this is a big machine. Okay, the footprint of it is 20 inches by 24 inches when I get it unboxed. So I'm going to go ahead. I have not even broken the seal, but I wanted to give you a heads up in case they did send me a demo machine. Now, I think I'm going to have to wheel my table down just a little bit. It'll make it easier. This is a Husky workbench. I get asked about it all the time. I love it. I love it for my videos. I love it as a workspace. Okay. Oh, it's got all the packaging. It is brand new in the box from what I can tell. So here is what you're going to see when you open this up. Now, the reason I had stated ahead of time that it might be a demo is because of the way that it was taped. I was just wondering if it was a demo that had arrived from Summit. That's probably still in transit. But it was taped very, very well. This is the box that it came in. It did not have an outside box. The label was just attached to the Curio box. So let's go ahead and take a look. It's going to take some space. And actually, I need to flip this over. It will take space in both the setup to function properly and to store. You're going to want to keep the machine, as you can see, it's big. You're going to want to keep this machine in a safe place and do not put stuff on top of it. So let's see if we can get this out of here. Maybe I should ask for help. It is a hefty machine. Okay, so I've gotten it out of the box a little bit, and we'll turn it so you can see here. So here's packaging materials on the top. Do not throw this away. Very, very important. Do not throw it away. It's going to look like a piece of clear plastic, but it is very necessary. Okay. Big box. I would recommend keeping that if you can. Never hurts, just in case a machine has to be sent back. So on the top here, we're going to go through this. On the top, there's a little box. Don't forget the little box. Everything that's in this box is important. So in the little box is my first part of my power cord. In the little baggie, which comes in the next top compartment, is the auto blade, which is the same auto blade that is used in the Cameo 5, the Cameo 4, the Portrait 3, and the Portrait 4. So same auto blade. There's an auto blade adjustment tool, or how to take off the cap on the auto blade. And there's a thing of Silhouette masking tape. That will come in handy for some projects. There's a little sheet in here with disclaimers. We're going to set that aside for a minute. This is your second part to your power cord. So your power cord, just like everybody else. Now, one thing that was mentioned at Summit is this is a different power cord, different power supply than a Cameo machine. So you want to make sure, I would label this. So you're going to stick this power plug into that power plug and make sure they're secure. Again, this is a different power supply than the Cameo. And then this is very important. This is your electrostatic mat. I'm going to go ahead and open this one. Maybe. Okay. Very, very important. So you have your electrostatic mat that it comes with the Curio. This is going to be your basic mat. There is a debris tray, which is a separate accessory. I will have more on that when they are available. On the top here, you can see here, it is taped to the top. Do not throw this away. You cannot use your electrostatic mat without the protective cover. This protective cover, let's go ahead and open it up. I've covered it in some of my videos and I've tried to be very, very clear about this. Clear. It is clear. That was a stupid joke. But we're really excited about this. It is clear. It is a thicker plastic, kind of similar to a shower curtain plastic. That's a clear PVC plastic. That's what it reminds me of. It is clear. There are no markings, but it is specific, just like your cutting mat, in the dimensions. So we'll take a look at that here in just a second. That will affect how you place it onto your electrostatic mat for your Curio and for the one that comes with the Cameo or the Portrait. So there is a very specific way to place that onto the bed. So you want to make sure that you're having that on correctly. Do not throw it away. That's the most important part, because you cannot use the electrostatic bed without the protective cover. If you cut or damage on your electrostatic bed, it won't work anymore. That's bottom line. You need to be careful. It is based on the user, okay? You have to be responsible for taking care of your machine. So we'll set that there. Let's try to take this apart. It's very well packaged. As you can see, it is very substantial in size. This is a large work table. So now I can crank this baby back up. I opted for the one that was not electric, so I wasn't having to be plugged in by cords. Okay. You may need help unboxing this. Don't be afraid to ask for help, because you definitely don't want to drop this machine. carefully remove your plastics that protect it. And then what you're going to see is that all over this machine, there is blue tape. Blue tape means remove. There is a little sheet here that's actually stuck underneath. It's taped here. So I'm just going to start and remove all the tape. First, I'm going to kind of turn this around so I can actually read it. So it says, please remove the screws before use. Okay, so this little piece of paper, I'm going to take it off here. Piece of paper, great thing that they added this in there. So it is packaged, it is set up so that it can be shipped from the manufacturing plant and not damage the housing. This is not going to be a portable machine, not easily. So it has English and several other languages. Please remove the screws before use. And it shows you a diagram of the screws. So the screws are back here. And they are just little locking nuts. So going to unlock those. And this is what's holding the housing and the arm, the whole thing here in place while it's being shipped. So save these, because if you ever have to move your machine, you want to put these back. So I would save this bracket, these two brackets, and your instructions, just so you know how to put that back together. So I'm just going to fold over this piece of tape, and then let's remove these. Don't throw them away, don't lose them. You never know when you're going to move, or in my case, if I had to transport this to teach, I would put those back on before I transported the machine, because this arm, the housing not only moves side to side, but this arm moves front to back. So right now, there's some of this foam. I'm going to remove the foam. I'm going to remove the pieces of blue tape. Ones I can grab. Okay, so let's turn this back around very carefully. So on the front, there's more blue tape, and it does have little tabs. It is very well packaged. And be gentle when you're removing it. Don't just rip it off vigorously. Just kind of go slow. And then, if I carefully move this to the side, there's a piece of foam right there. Inspect your machine to make sure that that's all of your packing tape. So I'm just going to move that before I stick myself back to it. And here we have, I think I have everything. Double check, because you don't want your machine to jam. Okay, looks like I have all the packing tape, all the packing foam removed. Next, I'm going to show you how to install the base. So keep in mind when people are doing demonstrations upside down, backwards, it is a little bit harder to do than if you were to come at it from the front. So I'm going to try this. If not, if it doesn't work, I'm going to turn the machine around because it'll be easier. So this electrostatic base is going to slide in here. There are little channels right here that have little pegs, so you want to be careful. Again, don't be vigorous with this. Treat it very, very gently. That's how I always treat my machines. It's going to slide on there, just like that, and it snaps into place. When you need to remove it, there's two little levers right here. Now it's locked in place. When you need to remove it, you're going to unlock that and slide it out. And the debris tray is going to go in the same way. Now, the difference between the electrostatic mat and the debris tray. The electrostatic mat is a powered mat. I am going to turn it on here in just a second and I will show you how that works. But it works with static electricity. So it is electric. The debris tray has a lip around it, and it is what you're going to use when you are doing things like acrylic or metal etching. Because of the debris that is created when you are etching with that power engraving tool or the additional tools that might be coming out, you want to make sure that you have your machine clean. The debris tray keeps any of that debris in it. Now, on that note, you want to keep your machine clean. Keep your machine clean. Do not set anything on this electrostatic mat when you're not using it. Personally, with my old Curio, I always had things stacked on the top of it. This is not going to be the same. If you put stuff on top of your electrostatic mat, I can see it having issues. That is not a machine issue. That is a user issue. So you would have to replace your electrostatic mat. Again, not a machine issue. So I'm going to lock this in place. So it is locked. It does not move. Let's get this powered up. And here's my electrostatic mat protection. I'm just going to set it on top. Do not lose it. They are replaceable when you need to. This should last a long time as long as you're not cutting too deep and you're not being hard on it. So your protective cover should last you a long time. However, especially in the beginning, as with blades and other materials, beginners usually go through products faster. So I would recommend as soon as they are available to get replacements. Have those replacements. They do come in a 2-pack, and I was told that they are cheaper than a cutting mat. So it's great to have that on hand. Again, you don't want to damage that electrostatic bed. So let's get this unplugged, untwisted. And we have our power cord. Okay, so if you're looking at it from the front, it's going to be on the right-hand side. You have your power buttons. You have your USB. It does not come with a USB cable. Again, it does not come with a USB cable. That is for a specific reason. Because a lot of computers, especially Mac, but more so even going forward, Windows computers as well, do not have USB ports. More and more, it's becoming more common. So rather than try to include all the adapters in the box, this machine is Bluetooth. After version 4.5.735, it will be able to connect by Bluetooth initially. But if you are currently using the beta version, that's as I record this video, that's the only version available to the public, you will need to connect it by USB cord in order for your software to recognize it. I will also update the description with additional details as we get down the road with software versions being released. So make sure you check out that description. And because I'm on camera, of course, the cord is going to give me problems. So I'm plugging it in to the power. Make sure it's in there securely. There does seem to be a direction to this, so do not force it. Make sure you have it in there properly. And then on my table in the front, I have, well, it's actually in the back of the table, but I have a little power strip. So I'm just going to plug it in front here. There we go. Make sure you have secure connection with the power supply, power bank. And then on the right-hand side is also your power button. Now, the new Cameo 5 and the new Curio 2 and the Portrait 4, the power button is a little bit different. You have to press it and hold it for 3 seconds because these machines now have auto shut off, which means that you can quickly press that the power button, and it will stop your project. Your project will be lost, but if it's going off the rails, then it's a fast way to stop the machine. Previously, you had to pause or turn the machine completely off, which you lost your project anyhow. Pause had to recall the data or finish the cut that it was currently completing before it could stop. So that's why you saw that delay. The data had already been set. So I'm going to hold this button down. And this is why you want the clearance on the machine. Okay, now it's going to be difficult on the video, but I will take a still shot of the touch panel here. So it is all white buttons. We did give them feedback based on that at Summit. The first thing we said was white buttons were bad. It is Bluetooth, so if you push the Bluetooth button, it will connect. The Bluetooth button turns blue. That is the only button that turns colors. So the one thing I want to note here is currently my electrostatic mat is not on. You have to turn it on. So I will have the close-up of the panel here. You have the on button for your electrostatic mat. So it's not on. Going to press it. There is 2 options. Light white is off. Bright white is on. So let me show you these photos. I'm going to take a photo. Here's a photo of off. Here's a photo of on. So you have to turn that mat on for it to work. So here's a quick video. This is on. That's bright. That's off. That's light. On is bright. Off is light. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to place my electrostatic mat on my protective cover on the mat. Then I'm going to smooth this down. And I want it as smooth as possible. And you want to make sure, okay, it's getting a charge. When you first do it, and that's something that was brought up at Summit, when you first do this and first turn it on, it has to build up that charge. The longer it's on, the more the charge builds up. So you want to give it a couple seconds if you are first starting out with it. And then you're going to carefully just smooth this down. And you can do it by hand. You don't want to be too forceful with it. So smooth it down. You do not want air bubbles. And then you can see here, I can't move that mat. That charge is built up. So again, this is going to take practice and patience in learning the new machine. So smooth it down. And I can't move that. I'm trying. Just so you can see, I'm trying. I'm going to grab, I thought ahead, I have a couple types of materials that I ordered in advance to have on hand to test. So this one is tracing paper. This one is vellum. I think I'm just going to open this up. This video is not going to be my first cut, so this is just the unboxing. I just want to show you how the electrostatic mat works so you can get that set up properly and be able to start cutting. And then I will record a first cuts video. So this is vellum paper. The first thing I notice is that my edge is crinkled. You want, for the best success, pull out a different sheet. You need a sheet that is completely flat. It cannot be curled, it cannot be crimped, it cannot be bent, folded, anything, because you have to build the charge up just like you did with the mat. So you need to have a completely flat surface. Now, in the past, let me see if I can tell. Okay, this might mean something to some. This is 93 GSM, just in case you're wondering about it. So it is very thin. In the past, intricate designs or cutting thin, delicate papers like this could be problematic. And that's where the electrostatic mat comes into play, because you don't have to use the adhesive cutting mat. So we're going to try this out. Again, this is my first time actually doing this on the machine. You're going to place it on the machine and then give it just a second. Let it build that charge up, and then you're going to smooth it out just like you did the electrostatic mat. Again, you do not want air bubbles. Now, you may be saying, this is too much. This is a lot of prep work. In reality, if you get a good cut, is it really that much work? If you are getting a good cut the first time because it's held in place and you don't have to scrape it off your mat, or you don't tear it when it comes off your cutting mat when you're trying to remove it, is it worth it? You are the only one that can decide. I think it's going to be worth it. In what I saw, it's going to be worth the benefit. Okay, now, test. Okay, my charge wasn't built up enough, but it's still kind of sticky. And not sticky, it's still charged. I just got a little bit forceful with it. So let's get that back on there. Again, upside down demos are really difficult to, especially on a brand new machine. Okay, I'm going to let that sit for just a second. The other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pull out a Silhouette cutting mat. This one is used. There was not a cutting mat in the box, so you will need to buy one of these if you plan to use it. Here are some tips while that's getting set up. Smooth cutting mat. If your cutting mat has roller grooves in it, it's not going to work. So we're going to test this one next. So now, okay, it is held in place. Now the next most important thing for your success is getting your blade installed properly. I don't care how many years it's been, ever since the Cameo 3 was released, it's still even an issue for Cameo 1, Cameo 2 users that I see and troubleshoot. We troubleshoot thousands of issues every single week. We see it all the time. So while it might be repetitive, I'm going to go through it because it is one of the #1 things we see with cutting issues. So you're going to pull out the locking tab on the front of your tool 1 housing. The tools do have the number of the housing that it fits in. So this is technically called carriage 1. You're going to place this tool in there all the way. When you do, push down on the tool and lift up on the front of the locking tab to make sure it is completely settled in there. There can be no gap at all. And then you're going to push in the lock. Now there are 2 little grippers on the front of the lock. Those are going to grab into the auto blade. I cannot tell you how many times I have seen a photo and they swear up and down that it is installed properly. It is not. We deal with it all the time, and that's why it is very important for me to bring this up. So even if you think it is installed properly, double check. It will save you frustration. So you have the auto blade installed. Now, you can see here with the time that curled. That's going to start to lose the charge. Also keep in mind that humidity will play a huge important factor in your materials. Not necessarily the mat or the machine, but your materials. So if you do see that, let's just try, flip it over, because because my paper is starting to curl. And then when I set it down, I automatically felt that charge. It's more of a feel than it is something you can see. So, and that might just be due to humidity in my room that's enclosed with me talking to you. So, just to recap, bright white is on, light white is off. This is going to, the 4 directional arrows are going to move your housing. As you can see, this is going to move the carriage. When you press it, it's going to move in small increments, which you can't even see on the camera. When you press and hold, it's going to move it all the way, and then it gets faster. So those are what those buttons are for. We're going to move this back. You have, since you're using the auto blade, you have the auto blade adjustment hole. Now I will cover this in more details as I start cutting and do my first cuts and additional cuts. But from my experience at Summit, it is a little bit slower. It's a big machine. A little bit slower when it moves over and it taps down in that hole to set the blade. It is not super speedy like the Cameo machine. That's okay. As long as it does it properly, that's what you want. So the next thing I wanted to show you is going to remove this piece of paper. When you remove it, you're going to feel that charge. When I removed that, it had to release that charge, and I could feel it. It's not something that I can easily explain on camera. So the next thing I'm going to do, super smooth. This is actually a brand new mat that I unboxed recently, unwrapped. So what I'm going to do is I am going to show the cutting mat. Since it is a smooth, flat surface, it should stick on here with the electrostatic charge, not stick. It should be held down by the electrostatic charge. So I'm going to put it on here. I'm going to line up the grid with that cutting grid. I'm going to give it a second. And I'm going to cross my fingers because this really wasn't demonstrated at Summit. This was shown with the cutting mat using the debris tray. So I'm going to give it just a second. Now I'm going to smooth this down. When would you use this? You would use this when you're cutting a material that cannot lay absolutely flat. So for instance, rolled adhesive vinyl or rolled HTV. If it is rolled, if it has any curl whatsoever, it is not going to stay on that electrostatic mat. Okay, I could break the charge on that initial one. Now, the real test is going to be, my hand strength, is a lot more forceful than a super sharp, tiny blade that is cutting intricately. And there's a couple new things. There's IPT, which I will have a video explaining exactly what IPT is. But I'm really excited about that one too, because it's going to reorder how the machine does the cut order to make your cuts, especially intricate cuts, more successful. So I'll have more details on that. So make sure to stay tuned on the YouTube channel for the upcoming things. I can only cover so much in one video. Okay, so I'll try not to use my Hulk strength. Okay, see, I'm shaking the table. Once I finally got to be a bit more forceful, it did break away. But my housing, unless your cut settings are way too deep, it's not going to have the same force as me with my arm behind it. And then when it does, you're just going to have to practice. Again, my first times, and I'm kind of being a Hulk here. So, new machine, going to take time to learn. Charge isn't built up. The biggest thing is going to be getting used to this electrostatic mat for most users because it is new. It is something that you're not used to. It's something I'm not used to. So please be patient, practice, and if you are a business owner and you've got this for your business, I would highly recommend that you take the time to learn the machine. Don't try to learn it while you have a big project that you need to get cut and done on a deadline. There's nothing worse or more frustrating than that, and you are almost always guaranteed to run into issues if you have a strict deadline that you're trying to stick to. So I am excited about this machine. My next video is going to be, hopefully, cross my fingers, the first cuts with the Curio 2 machine. So watch for those videos coming out soon. I wish you the best of luck. It is new. It will be around for a while. Cameo 5 is new. I'll have that one too as soon as it's available. But I look forward to being able to share more information with you. Let me know if you have questions in the comments below. Keep in mind this is brand new for all of us. So I am so excited. And I thank you for joining me. Have a great day.